inspire financial wellness, and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers. And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
On tonight's edition of Club 904, we have the second longest win streak in Jacksonville Jaguars history. Oh, by the way, that results in the second AFC South crown in the last 4 years, the 5th division title in Jacksonville Jaguars franchise history. We're going to get into all of it on tonight's program. Brent Martineau going to join us here momentarily. We've got post-game interviews. We've got stats and figures we want to run through and a whole lot more. We're excited to have you with us for this Week 18 post-game edition of Club 904. What is going on, everybody? Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Mia O'Brien, Brent Martineau going to join us here momentarily. This is Club 904, syndicated on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Final score, your Jacksonville Jaguars 41, those hated Tennessee Titans 7. And I'm not going to lie, and you may have heard me say this on some other programming today, I honestly forgot that the Tennessee Titans scored on their opening drive, probably by halftime. I'm sure many of you did as well. The comments, they're already flowing in on YouTube, on X. Make sure to keep them coming. This is an interactive program, folks. We're excited to have you with us here in the club. And speaking of who's in the club tonight, let's welcome in Action Sports Jack Sports Director Brent Martineau, who joins the program live from ASJ headquarters. Brent, I don't know about you, but I honestly went to say the final score to a player, and I was like, I think it was Foye. I think you were standing next to me in the locker room, and I was thinking oh, they didn't score a touchdown today. And then I was like, oh yeah, they did. Well, Cam Ward did. Cam Ward also had 20 less passing yards than the quarterback who actually played most of this game for the opponent, which kind of tells you the tale of the tape. Your initial thoughts following this 8th straight win for the Big Cats?
Well, I can tell you this. I think it's interesting that you just brought some of that up, because forget about the score and this is a game you don't even really break down, right? And that's kind of weird when doing what we do. We're not sitting here dissecting like the football game today. Instead, it's this whole compilation of an incredible 8-game run. It was brought to my attention today that I put out a poll question back on November 10th after the Jaguars had lost to Houston in the fashion that they did. Jags were 5-4. And I said, hey, do you think the Jags will make the playoffs? And it came back 74% said no. So listen, at that time, I might have said, and I'm a positive guy in town, everybody knows that, but I might have said this isn't a playoff team too. I think I remember saying that. So what they have done and to turn this around, and really the most impressive thing, and a little bit of my line of questioning today in the locker room, is just how hard it is. Don't take it for granted how hard it is to do what they're doing. They're smoking teams, from the Chargers 35-6 to even these kind of teams, and take care of business like this with Tennessee. And it's kind of happening around the league. It seems like some of the bad teams are just bad, like the Jets and stuff, but it's really been impressive to see what the Jags have done in this 8-game stretch. And, now we just wonder, is that the peak? Do you stay on the roll? And can you play like this in this week, and then hopefully for a few more weeks? Because if they can play to this level, they're good enough to do the unthinkable. The question is, can they play to that level against a quality opponent in this atmosphere, with everything that's on the line, right? I think we know if we get this kind of play from them, well, watch out, rest of the league.
2 things. Number one, and you would echo this, I would think, and having been in the same locker room today, there were guys who were upset with today's performance. Again, a 41-7 drubbing of the Tennessee Titans. I have more than one guy who said to me, I played like crap. And here is the second part of my reaction to your opening statement, Brent. I don't want to say I get Kurt Cignetti vibes, but that's kind of where we're at with Liam Cohen in this operation. I don't want to compare the Jacksonville Jaguars to the Indiana Hoosiers, who appear to be on a collision course for the national title in college football. But that's honestly where we're at in terms of this 1-0 workmanlike approach, where I'm sure you saw the clip that's been circulating social media. I had seen it from an AFCA coaching convention. I guess it was last year's, because Cignetti was already the head coach in Indiana, where he said, I don't keep guys in the building past 7. I just need people to get their work done. And I need people who want to be here at 6 a.m. People should be intrinsically motivated. We've created that environment. And as I watched it, all I could think was, Liam Cohen's burning the midnight oil, to be clear. But that same sort of, it needs to be about us and it needs to be about you operation. What's going on in Bloomington, it's not too far removed from what's going on in Duval.
Yeah, I think I actually tweeted it over the weekend, something like that. How different are Liam Cohen and Cignetti? There have some similar things. Obviously, the age is 25 years difference, but there's a pissiness about them. And there's also this value of time. And I think I might have mentioned this last week. We talked so much, I don't know exactly when I mentioned anything, but I was struck all season really by how many players have said the schedule and he takes care of us and all of that. And I think it's just away from this old school football feel that you got to be in the building all the time, even if you're really not doing anything. And I think Cignetti kind of points that out, and maybe many others do now too. But I think this younger generation of coaches that we're seeing is okay, you don't need the cot in the office stuff. That doesn't mean you're getting more stuff done. Instead, especially from a player standpoint, let's get in, get our work done, make the most of our time, and get out. Not a lot of wasted time during the day. So I think there are some similarities in what you're saying. And also this, it's both out of nowhere. It's a cool story. It's a cool story for Indiana, but right here in Jacksonville, it's a really cool story. And I think there's one thing that doesn't match. This city and this football team, and I think the coaching staff really match each other. And I bring that up a lot in my career, talking about the Jags over 18 years, because I saw that growing up in New England with the Red Sox, and specifically, and I saw that in 2004 when the Red Sox finally won the World Series, because on the heels of 2003, where they didn't, and they sensed the disappointment that the fans had felt for 80-something years, and there was almost this marriage of that. And I think we're getting a little bit of that with this football team. They feel like they have really included the fan base, the city of Jacksonville. I think so much of this team embodies kind of what Jacksonville is all about in many respects. And obviously Liam uses that to his advantage. But here's the one disconnection right now. I think we are all in, from an outside standpoint, in celebratory mode. And you should be. 13 wins is an absolute amazing season for anybody, but for specifically this particular football team and this franchise. But they can't celebrate too much, because if you're really this good, boom, you're on to the next very quickly. And now you have to refocus, ramp it up. The playoffs are different. And now try to do something that nobody thinks you can do, and take advantage of the moment you're in and how good you are playing, and try to go win the whole thing.
We're getting lots of comments, lots of questions. Before we answer those questions, before we go back to the big picture, I think we've somehow managed to forget to award game balls on each of the last 15 shows, Brent. So to your point, there's not a lot to analyze from a 41-7 victory. So we're just going to play this. And yeah, we're going to give some game balls out, and we're going to call it a day when it comes to this Week 18 thumping of the Tennessee Titans. I don't know if you saw yet. I enjoyed Jeffrey Simmons did give a response to some of the trash talk, not just from LaQuint Allen, who you'll hear from later in this program, but from Trevor Lawrence as well. So, yeah, I appreciate that the Titans, they gave the Jaguars their props. And I heard from people who were on the field during the post-game handshakes that Simmons was very complimentary of the Jags. The Jags were very complimentary of him. Outside of him, which to me, once Cam Ward went out, he was the Titans' whole team, and he really didn't even play in the second half. And so I do want to put that asterisk on there, because that kind of defined this game for me. Jeffrey Simmons in the early onset, and then once the Jaguars took this game handily out of the grasp of Tennessee, then they were playing out the string, and he wasn't even playing in this game. So I do want to note that before I hear who your player of the game or two was.
He's a beast, by the way. I mean, he's an absolute beast of a player in a game. They say game wrecker, but he legitimately is a game wrecker. And man, if the Jags can find that kind of guy in the draft over the next couple of years to add to what they've already have and will add, I mean, that would be really good to get that kind of dominance from that position. But game ball wise, I'll start backwards a little bit. I'm gonna go Antonio Johnson, and I just tweeted this because we had his dad made the shirt, which was kind of cool, and he wore that for Coach Camp. But 5 interceptions. And I do think it goes under the radar. There was so much talk last year, remember, about Ryan Nielsen, how he added weight to so many players. And I think when we have that in our minds, we've got that for like a Devin Lloyd, or even for Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker and those guys. He was another one. And to be honest with you, he really looked, with all due respect to him, big to me last year. And him shedding that weight to me is very significant. I think that's part of the reason he's played well. I also think Camp's figured out a way to use him, but that's another nice gem now. That's a 5th-round pick playing very good football and ascending. And I think you look at a guy like Antonio Johnson, Mia, and Campanile is changing the trajectory of a guy like that's career. How good can he be with the confidence he's playing with right now?
Right. Well, to that point, and I asked Foye this when we were interviewing him in the locker room. You'll hear from him as well a little bit later in the program. But in real time, there was a moment. It was a 3rd down stop. It was prior to his pick 6, where Antonio Johnson was the one pre-snap. And I tweeted this out in real time as well. He was the one pointing to Jarian and saying, hey, I need you to move to the other side of the field. Hey, you got to follow him. Hey, you go here. That, for me, kind of said it all. It was a microcosm, a little minute moment that's not going to show in the box score. But this was a player who last year, in terms of his preparation, in terms of his football IQ, was questioned, if not by fans, then perhaps by people around the league. And the fact that Foye Oluwakim was very vocal this summer about this idea of, for the last however many years, I was told I needed to be the eraser. I needed to be the one who got everyone lined up. And if someone missed on a play or missed executing something, I would clean it up. Well, how about everybody just knows where they're supposed to go? Well, now we've surpassed everyone knowing where they're supposed to go. Now we're at the point, and Foye told us, and you'll hear it in a second. Now we're at a point where they're telling him where to go. And that, for me, says it all in terms of what Campanelli and Liam Cohen have been able to bring to Jacksonville.
Well, that's a nuance that I don't think a lot of people love to always talk about or hear. And I bring it up with Foye a lot over the last couple of years. When he had to worry about where Devin Lloyd's lining up, then how can you play to the best of your ability? So you take that to the other side of the ball and you have Trevor. If Trevor's got to worry about lining people up, from Calvin Ridley to even Travis Hunter as a young player, or guys catch, how do you trust everything around you so you can play the best? And people don't want to hear that as an excuse, but the reality is that's what some of us were yelling at a little bit, like in defense. Like, that's the defense for me, is how can you play to your best ability when you don't trust everything to be right around you, and you're the guy that has to make up for it. See, that's the difference. It's like, if you don't have to make up for it, then whatever, just go play. But guys in their positions have to make up for the guys if they're not in the right spot. So I do think some of those nuanced things are really important, from Lloyd to Antonio Johnson. And one other note about that, I think credit to camp again, because they simplified things to a degree somewhere a little bit after the bye, right? After that Houston game, to figure out, okay, let's just play fast. And whatever they've done has worked.
And also credit to the entire operation, where they said, you know what? Antonio's ready. We're ready to move on from Darnell Savage. Goodbye. Enter AJ, who, again, is just 24 years old, as he reminded me earlier this week.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you another game ball, by the way, for a young guy, 23-year-old, I think he is. Maybe he's 24 now, is Parker Washington. And
he is 23, by the way. His birthday's in April, did he tell me? Yeah. I know that he was 23, or excuse me, he was 20 the February before he was drafted in April.
Well, he's young enough to not have seen Jerry Maguire, by the way, because I mentioned to him that you had a Jerry Maguire moment where he popped up, right? Yeah. Like today, after it looked like he was hurt. And as I'm saying that to him in the locker room today, I'm like, you probably haven't seen Jerry Maguire, have you? He's like, no, I'm too young. I haven't seen it. So it was a really funny moment. I had
no idea. Like I said to him, I'm like, dude, do you realize when you went down, like you could hear a pin drop? And he's like, really? And I was like, yo, people thought you were hurt. And he was like, oh, I didn't even realize. I'm like, yeah. And then they went nuts when you came back in. He's like, well, I heard, but I didn't realize people thought I was that hurt. So he is okay, folks, by the way. He just took a tough shot and got the wind knocked out of him.
We had 847 yards receiving this year in the regular season. He has 337 on 19 catches the last 3 weeks. He's their best receiver right now in terms of making plays, and it feels like on third downs, I think out of those 19 catches, I did this, was 9, 12. I think 12 of them are for first downs. He's going for 18 yards a pop. He's got a couple touchdowns in there. He's really a dynamic player for Trevor right now. And I know it wasn't as big as the last couple of weeks, but I still thought it was pretty big today. And he caught the one to go over 4,000 yards, maybe appropriately, before Trevor came out. And I will give a game ball to Trevor today. So do the YouTube commenters, by the way. They agree with you. But it's to what you were referencing first. This is a part of the game that we won't break down as much because we're on to Buffalo and all these things. But I think the stuff with Simmons, I think the fiery nature of Trevor today when Parker went down, right? That was when Parker went down. He didn't like the hit that was delivered, and he got mad at that. I think you're seeing the fist pumps. We're not just seeing a guy, obviously, with the grill later and having swag, but we're really seeing this competitive Trevor Lawrence. And I can't tell you how many guys in the last couple of weeks have just raved about the work ethic and the dynamic of that versus like last year or offseason where people were questioning it. And I believe it had to be someone on Peterson's staff to some degree that left a little, cracker out there or crumbs out there to say, well, if he worked a little more, it's like, and that has not been a thing. And in fact, they rave about how he works and everything else. So just an interesting, subtle story that even when Cohen and company got the job, they were like, what are they talking about? This dude is always in here and everything else. And now you can highlight those things because he's playing so well. But it's more how the players react. We'll go listen to Brenton Strange today. Go listen to guys talk about it. This week, you'll hear from Anthony Campanile and Grant Udinski, and they go the extra mile to point out what he does in the building on a daily basis. And I think that's what the CEO of the organization is supposed to do. But I think we're really hearing people rave about it, and it's paying dividends.
Judging by the way Mike McCoy interacted with him pregame, I don't think it was Mike McCoy.
No, he loves him. Yeah,
he loves him. Not to put words in the mouth of the previous regime or to bash them, but the more and more, and we will discuss this at a later date more in depth, but the more and more, Brent, that I dove into the situation after Doug Peterson's immediate firing, and even last year during that hopeless December month, I don't think maybe they won a game or two, but point being, the more and more I dove into it then, and as I reflect upon it now, I don't think it was so much, and even if someone did leave that breadcrumb of, oh, he doesn't work enough, the problem is that was misconstrued and it wasn't properly identified. It was never about not being in the building, because Trevor was in the building. And clearly Liam Cohen and his staff reflect that. It's about how he was being taught. And we can bring this to Antonio Johnson as well. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to, as the coach, and I'm actually audiobook listening to Bill Walsh's autobiography. The Score takes care of itself currently. And Bill Walsh talks about how, as a coach, you need to be a teacher first. And sometimes that doesn't mean just teaching the X's and O's and teaching these are the plays we're going to run. Sometimes that requires teaching your coaches how to teach and teaching your players how to study. As players are younger and younger coming into the National Football League, and because they've bounced around or because they're not being taught at the collegiate level, perhaps some of these little nuanced details of the game that in a previous generation, maybe they came more equipped to the league to handle that. You as the coaches have a responsibility to teach that. And that's where I say the breadcrumb they left of, perhaps of, there's a question mark there. Trevor told us, he told the broadcast crews week in and week out early this season, he had never thought about tying his footwork to his progressions until Liam Cohen showed up. That is a nuanced part of the game that, again, I don't want to put words in Doug Peterson's mouth, but maybe that is something that there was, that's something that he had to be taught that maybe went overlooked. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you're right on. And by the way, there was an element of that Doug and that staff did do. So while people will hammer the last staff, there's an element of that, because I remember Doug, plain as day, mentioning coming off Urban Meyer that they had to teach him to watch film the right way, So, there was just at least the way, remember, Doug Peterson had been around a lot of good quarterbacks in his career. And so there was a way about it. And so from Urban staff or from college, or they hadn't got to that point and kind of had to teach him that way. Now, what does that mean? I really don't know, but that'll just give you an example of there's various levels of it. And I've long said this now the last couple of years about Doug is Doug, I think, did a really nice job at times with Trevor.
Yes.
And then it's like anything else. Sometimes you need the next coach to take it to the next level. And I think that's an example of what we're getting right now. And there are a lot of variables mixed in on that. But the bottom line is I never questioned whether Trevor was working hard. That wasn't it. I just think it's pretty cool to really, it's almost like these guys want to tell the story of Trevor, the Trevor that they've seen if they've been around him for 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 1 year. And now they can, because they knew he had to have the success to look at least partially like this to be able to brag on him. And from remember the huddles that people used to say, oh, how's that getting people fired up? Yep. Well, this dude, everybody's following number 16, everybody. And they love to follow number 16. Says a lot about where the organization's at.
Hef says, and this is a good way of summarizing whatever I just babbled for 3 minutes. He says Press Taylor didn't understand purpose. And I'm not going to put that on Press. I'm just going to say that is what Liam Cohen has brought. The why. And we'll talk about our friend of the program, Mike Silver's The Why is Everything. That is a hallmark of the Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan coaching trees that most of these offensive coaches have some sort of tie to. This idea of we are here to teach you the why. And that, I think, is what was missing for Trevor Lawrence and perhaps in his preparation. And that's where the understanding has reached that 401 level, where maybe Doug Peterson, rightfully so, got it to the 201, 301 level, but he needed this to unlock that senior level thesis course that we now see him acing at this current juncture. Let's get to some comments and questions, Brent, before we send you over to the TV side of things. Someone asked about, Ether Dark asked about the audiobook for Chop Wood, Carry Water. If you have a Spotify premium account, make sure you can listen to it. I just did that. So it is available. If you have Spotify premium, it is readily available right now. Let's get to some other questions that we have. From G Drinks, Kurt Warner mentioned that too on the Rich Eisen show this week, seemed incredibly shocked with what Trevor Lawrence had to say in their pre-production meeting. Liam is by far and away the best coach and play caller that Trevor has ever had in the NFL. And I don't want to pile on previous coaches he had, because I think every coach he had has laid the foundation to build to where he is now. And Liam Cohen is just the one who's taking it to the 401 level. And so therefore he's going to get a lot of the, praise for that. But I do think that, again, coming out of Clemson, where in college, a lot of times, if you have the better athletes, you're going to win the ball game, Brent. And a lot of the offense that I have sometimes called Mickey Mouse that he ran at Clemson, maybe doesn't translate to the NFL. And then you have Urban Meyer, and then you just need to learn how to study. And Doug Peterson's starting you at level 101 or 201. And so that's where I think a lot of this, Trevor would tell you, I'm sure, he doesn't regret any of the journey, and it's just been part of it.
Yeah, I think there's so much that goes into it, and I just don't think most people want to hear about it, and they want it to go well right away. And I think this year's a perfect illustration of it. And we had it in 2022. Let's not pretend this is the first good football we've seen to Trevor. I think it is the best football, no doubt. I will come with you on that, but it's not the first good football. I mean, he was 7th in the MVP in 2022. So, and now he's going to be probably 3rd in the MVP here in 2025. So listen, it doesn't matter. It's good. It got to where we got. It got here probably faster than I thought it was going to get this year. It turned seemingly on a dime, and once it clicked, which also says a lot about Trevor. But I think it's so cool to be able to see the gifts that he has, that everybody touted for so long, on display. And it's like every week he's making a throw that's like, wow, that's pretty damn good. I mean, everybody's still talking about the throw to Parker last week in the Indy game, even though it didn't involve a rollout and across his body, but just taking the hit. And so it's good. And it's domino effect. That's what this game is all about when you have really good organizations and good teams, because it's not just about this year for the Jags. It's about the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, the rest of the decade. They really look like they've got a group together that can make that kind of run. And I think they're giving a lot of people confidence that they are going to be here for a while. Even if it doesn't mean winning 13 games every year, it's going to be in the mix every year. And I've got a better feeling about that than probably I've had yet.
Which we did get a question from Cool Weather. Hope Coach Camp stays another season or two. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with this.
I think he will. Yeah, I think he's going to get interviews, but I doubt I wouldn't think he'd get a job yet. I don't. Yeah. Now, Udinski, keep an eye on, because I think people are going to.
See, I go the other way on that, but okay.
Yeah. The reason why I say, and listen, I'm not predicting that he's getting a job. Yeah. I think they're going to get interviews and stuff. And I asked him about it in our sit down that we're going to play on Tuesday on our Chase for the Championship special. But here's the deal. I think what people are recognizing is if you come from this tree, or you've had time in this tree, and you're also 29, 30 years old, this new wave is working. And we already know the offensive guy people want more than the defensive guy overall. So I think Camp's, he might get something, and that might grow. I think both guys are going to get interviews this time around. But I wouldn't be stunned to see somebody take a shot on a guy like Udinski, because they feel like he is McVay or Cohen or one of these guys. Like, it's worked in spots. And I think people are starting to see you want to bring this new wave, younger way of thinking into your building. I know the Raiders would probably say that. I think the Jets are probably regretting some of their moves. Raheem Morris just reported he's out in Atlanta. So, I mean, what's going to happen in Tampa? I think these are spots that maybe would go and take a gamble on a very young offensive mind who people think he's brilliant. And maybe even if they got him a year or two early, it might be worth it. So again, not predicting either guy's going to get a job. In fact, I don't really think they will if I had to wager on it, but I think they'll be involved in the interview cycle, and I think their time's coming.
Should be noted, the last time, I don't know if I asked you this on a previous show, Brent, or if it was somebody else who I asked, the last time, that a Jaguars coordinator was hired as a head coach was... Ooh. Hint, you just said the team name that hired said coach.
What did I say? I said Raiders, Bucks, Atlanta.
Mm-hmm. That last one.
Mike Smith.
Yep. That was the last time, 2008, that a Jaguars coordinator was plucked to be a head coach. I was a freshman in high school. Brent, I think that was your first year.
Just got to Jacksonville.
Yeah. So at that point, your twins are what? 5, not 5,
Three.
What even? 2 years, 3 years
Three.
old. Just for context for everyone, that is the last time that a Jaguars coordinator was plucked as a head coach. And I do believe, because at least in my 7+ years here, we've never had a coordinator even interview, because Press Taylor's interview with the Baltimore Ravens was blocked. So think about that, folks. And that's a good sign. Yeah. That is a sign. If people are trying to interview and pluck from your organization, you're probably doing something right. They're not plucking from the organizations that maybe aren't operating at peak efficiency. Let's get some more questions in, Brent, before we have to send you off. Hello to Brandon and Dory listening up in Fernandina. Hello to Legend GB as well. Robert wants to know, Brent, you tell me fast, was the field bad today? It seemed like Travis Etienne lost his footing a couple of times.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit slick from the wet weather last night and overnight, but it wasn't bad. The field surface has been amazing, and players have raved about it. But that could have been. I was down there pregame, and I was like, "Oh, this is a little slick," at least where we were. But we're not out on the field either, right? Doing our stuff, at least on the periphery. So I think the field was fine. I didn't see a lot of it, but I did see Etienne slip a couple of times, which I thought was interesting. Maybe he just didn't have the right cleats on, or didn't feel great. But I think this field, and by the way, there are fields across the league that aren't great at times. This one has been damn good all year.
Yeah, I don't want to bash Liam Cohen's former home down in Tampa Town, but sometimes when I've seen that field in the last few weeks, yikes. Yeah, no, nothing against it, but because it's hard to keep these fields maintained in the state of Florida with the rain and everything.
Well, and they got a ton of rain down tonight during that game, obviously, but.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, 2 more. First, a lot of questions about Cole Van Lanen's health. You guys are going to hear from him as soon as Brent heads over to the TV side of things at Action Sports Jacks. You will hear from Cole Van Lanen, who I did catch up with in the locker room. Did you talk to him, Brent?
I didn't, so that was a good get, and it sounds like he's better than what it looked like, so that's good.
Yep. Was able to walk around, was given, left to the care of the trainers, and they said, you're good to walk. You're good to go shower. Good to go on your day. So I'm sure it is something that will be monitored throughout the week. So knock on wood, it doesn't fluctuate or change, but was good enough to be told he could give interviews. He could talk to us. So walking around.
And
on his
usually to your point, usually they won't if they feel like there's a bigger concern or something that needs to be checked out. So, I mean, it sounded like, I think I heard from someone maybe more of a bone bruise type of deal than anything structural. Hopefully that is the case. But we'll see. But big deal. But here's the deal. Overall, the Jags, knock on wood, are pretty healthy. Brian Thomas Jr. came back in. Parker was okay. He just lost his breath on that play. And so I think the Jags are sitting in a really nice spot. And that's part of this game. When you get to this time of year, I think the Bills lost Prater today and somebody else.
Maxwell Harrison was in a boot.
Yeah. And then you feel, listen, Cole Van Lanen, I hated it for him in that moment. One, because you don't want to see it, but he just signed the extension and everything else. I'm like, oh gosh. But the Jags have depth at the line if they do lose somebody that they now have had to play. And I think that's the case with a lot of guys. They've had to play so many players this year that they feel good plugging and playing. Now, you can get thin in a hurry, no doubt, right? Jarian Jones I think he was limping after a punt one time, oh, gee, she's playing so well. Jordan Lewis is out. I mean, you don't want to be third down the depth chart if you can avoid it. So I think the Jags are pretty good, but as we always say, we won't really find out till later in the week.
Feeling the same vibe. All right, Brent, before we let you go, because you're getting tons of questions about it, and I'm looking through this right now, and it is, I know you all want to know. I've literally got texts, I've got tweets, everyone wanting to know what is the schedule. I will just tell you, I have obviously, you know, I broke the news a few years ago with the playoffs. I've been in contact with folks. They don't know. Outside of all but can guarantee the Jaguars will not be playing on Monday night. And as for the Hard Rock scores that have already been put in, I will just tell you that the people I am talking to have a very firsthand knowledge of when that graphic's going to show up on Sunday Night Football in probably like an hour or so. Like, very involved in that. So with that said, I don't know if the Hard Rock thing is real or not. For everybody who has been commenting about it here on this live stream, and for everyone who's in Brent and my mentions asking us, I don't know. But Brent, you did reveal your predictions, and I tend to agree with many of them. That's why I didn't answer in tweet form, because I wanted to answer here. Tell us where you think this ultimately kind of lands. Give us the handicap for it.
Well, we like doing this because we've been in the industry. I think I'm just fascinated by the process. And there's two big questions in the process that we don't know. Is why, who's getting what time slot? Fox, CBS, or Prime. They put them down for all 4 Saturday, Sunday prime slots. Fox is going to get 2 of those. CBS is going to get 1. Prime is going to get another. And I think that changes the way the selection goes, because I think even though you can cross over with AFC, NFC now, I think the Fox still would like to probably get NFC games because they're eventually going to have the NFC Championship. And so the AFC probably in the playoffs wants to get AFC games since they'll have the AFC Championship. True. The other thing we don't know is the pecking order, like who gets priority. NBC is the Super Bowl. Does that mean they get the Sunday Night Football first pick, or do they hand that off to somebody else? I'm assuming it's Fox since they have 2 games. And NBC's got the Super Bowl, so they won't get the first selection. And I think the first selection would probably be a Green Bay, Chicago, if you're Fox. I think the next game, San Francisco, Philly, makes sense too, because there's huge markets. Obviously, the defending Super Bowl champs, all the storylines that go in it, also fits on the Fox window. So that's why I put that one, I think, on Saturday night and gave Fox a primetime game, even though initially I thought CBS would be the primetime game. Usually the crappiest game gets the 4:30 slot on Saturday.
Okay.
That's a 4-5er, I think.
We are getting some breaking news.
We got it?
Not the official, but I'm doing some mental gymnastics in my head. Who will be playing in the Northeast for any of these games? The winner of this one, right? Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
The Eagles.
The Eagles. Yep. Okay. So
against San Fran.
Okay. So that tracks.
So those are the 2 in New England and Chargers.
Okay. So one of those 3 is going to be Sunday Night Football.
Well, I think I had in mind, I had the Chargers in New England being Sunday Night Football.
Okay. Well, so it looks like Sunday Night Football right now is trending out.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be Sunday Night Football because that's usually one of the marquee games. And listen, they're not going to smaller market. I gotta be careful. 2 smaller market teams on Sunday Night Football. I thought Monday Night Football would be a great landing spot until I remembered the 4-5 matchup thing. So they'll probably put the 4-5 there.
I meant to tell you that was confirmed to me earlier. Monday night is going to be the winner of this game currently on Sunday Night Football against the Texans. Like, all but confirmed that will be Monday night.
And I think I have that way.
Yeah, you did. And that's why I was like thinking of answering your tweet. And then I was like, I'm going to wait till we do the podcast.
So long story short, I think it fits. There's basically 3 windows for me for the Jags. It's Sunday at 4:30. Either Saturday at 8:00 or Sunday at 1:00. And I just think depending on where those games, if it's CBS in the 8:00 window, I think there's a real chance that the Jags against the Bills will be Saturday night. But if it's Fox, I don't think it's going to be them. So then it could be a Prime or CBS game at 1:00 on Sunday is my guess right now. But again, I just want to be clear that it's totally a guess. I've tried to find a little bit more info out about how the process is, because then I can play the game from the network standpoint. Right. I also think there's jockeying this week that goes into next week. It's fascinating. I'd love to be in the room for how they pick this stuff.
It's insane. But as promised, I'm going to keep you guys posted what I'm hearing from the sources that be. So we can rule out, as of now, we are ruling out, and just confirmed basically, no Sunday night,
Monday night.
No Monday Night Football. Those 2 are out. So it is some combination of those 2 Sunday time slots of 1 and 4:30, and then on Saturday, those other 2 time slots of 4 and 8.
Well, Fox, by the way, Fox is going to have the 4:30 late game on Sunday. They're going to have that.
Yes.
So, I would rule that one out. They're not taking the Jacksonville.
CBS, I think, wants 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Well, they probably want prime time at 8 o'clock on Saturday.
That's true.
So if they get that, that's where it changes to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I say 8 o'clock or 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. All right, Brent, what's coming up on the TV side of things? Let's get you on the move.
Yeah, we got a whole bunch of reaction coming up. Obviously, Action Sports Jax primetime, 10:30 on Fox 30. We'll have the latest on hopefully where the game is being played, when, and all that. We know it's where it's in Jacksonville. And then tomorrow we start a whole bunch of coverage. Obviously, 10 in the morning, Brent and Austin show. And then 7 o'clock tomorrow night, Dewey's our guest, Dewey Wingard at Jags Report Live. And then we're staying for an hour show. We start our Chase for the Championship, 7:30 every night this week on Fox 30. So hopefully you can join us. And that does include Tuesday. We're going to have a Campanelli and Udinsky sit down together, which was a hell of a lot of fun. So hopefully you can tune in throughout the week.
There's a lot going on. Let me know if you need that Cole Van Lannon interview we're about to play here on Club 904 as well.
All right. And appreciate it.
Else, of course, Brent. We will be in touch. Appreciate you hopping in the club. I know that everybody here does as well. And we will talk soon.
Fun times. Have a good night.
There he goes, Brent Martineau, and of course, all the good stuff going on the TV side of things over at Action Sports Jax. All right, I know you want to hear from him. He's the most popular man in Duval these days. I keep joking with him. We joked about it, Brent and I, a few weeks ago. If you don't love me at my joking about Iowa, Wisconsin 2022, you can't have him in 2025. It's all fun and games, folks. Cole Van Lannon is for everybody. He did speak in the post-game locker room afterwards, which is a good sign following this 41-7 win that he did exit with a knee injury. Great to hear from Cole, not just about this victory, but also about the nice contract he signed over the weekend. First things first, though, what does it mean to pick up a big win like this one that clinches the AFC South?
It's amazing. Division champs. That's the first goal of many this year that we're trying to accomplish. And we finally got here, and regular season's done as a division champs.
I know everybody's it seems like the feeling is this one's great, but job's not finished.
Job's not finished. We're going to enjoy it tonight. It's a long season. We finally got here, and now, like you said, job's not finished. There's a lot to do this fall yet, or winter.
Do you pay attention to the 4:00 games at all for seeding, or do you just wait till the chips fall wherever they fall?
A little bit, but chips fall where they fall. You can't control anything, and just get ready for the next opponent.
All right, I got to ask you. You signed the new deal. How good does that feel to know that you're going to be around here for a while?
Very exciting. We're blessed, and we love being here, and we're super excited to be here for at least 3 more years. And now we can enjoy it a little bit more. We know we had stuff we had to do and take care of today, and super exciting, and my wife and I are ecstatic.
Had to be a crazy season for you. You've played every spot except center on the offensive line, and then you ink a new deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could have predicted that.
No, absolutely not. I don't think anyone could have. I just did everything I could every time I got an opportunity, and I'm glad I maximized that, and I'm just happy to be here and be a contributor for this team.
How good does it feel that you ended up getting those opportunities at so many spots? They looked at it and said, man, this is a guy we got to have here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's awesome. And, in the moment, you're not thinking that either. And, ultimately now, seeing the work that I put in and kind of getting that, gratitude for it, it's awesome. And to look back and see what I've done, it's a great accomplishment, but there's a lot more to do, obviously.
I liked what you told Ryan. You said you don't care what position it is either. They just said they want you to be an offensive lineman for the next 3 years.
Yeah, and I really don't. I just, like I said, I want to be a contributor here and help this team win football games or wherever that is.
Sorry,
Appreciate
jumping
it.
in at the
There are a little bit of technical difficulties there. Appreciate y'all rolling with us. There you have it from the horse's mouth. Cole Van Lannon willing to play any position. And again, as in case you missed it, in case you're just joining us because you heard we were dropping some scoops on the scheduling front. Yes, he was good to walk through the locker room, was told by the trainers, go off, do your thing. And as Brent Martineau noted before he jetted on out, normally if a player's status is in question, may not be as inclined to perhaps let them be walking around so freely. Let's hear from some more players inside a victorious Jaguars locker room after this 41-7 win. When we return, we have to get that one more commercial break in. Then we'll hear from Foye Oluokun. You'll hear from Parker Washington, LaQuint Allen dropping bars about him and Jeffrey Simmons and a rivalry that is budding. All that and more coming up next here on Club 904 on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
See a pit? It ain't legit. When you hear that, you think Bono's Pit Barbecue. A staple in Northeast Florida now for 75 years. A place that feels like home with friendly service. A meeting place for friends, family, or business occasions. On the menu, the corn nuggets are a favorite in our house, but there's something for everyone. Sandwiches, platters, salads, sides, desserts, and family feasts. You see Bono's all over the place in Northeast Florida. You know, there are almost 20 locations in the Jacksonville area now, so stop on by, sit down, and dine in with Bono's. You can also take it to go. There are drive-thrus in many of the locations, and they have delivery options too. Just download the Bono's app to make things easy. I signed up for the loyalty program, and you can too, to get special offers. If Jacksonville is home, few things feel more Jacksonville than Bono's Pit Barbecue. Celebrate 75 years and many more to come. Bono's Pit Barbecue. If you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Choose your own adventure. It's not just a saying, but a way of life here at Cycles of Jacksonville. And whether it's 2 wheels or 4 wheels, at Cycles of Jacksonville, a great adventure awaits. With brands like Honda, Vespa, Segway, and Triumph, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with their inventory featuring a 60,000 square foot building. If 4 wheels is more your thing, check out the largest selection of Honda Talons in the entire county. No matter what you're looking for, Cycles of Jacksonville is going to have the selection you need, all with great financing and rebates. Plus, if you're active duty military, Cycles of Jacksonville will offer you 0% financing along with great discounts for military and first responders. And when you want to get off the road and set sail, Cycles of Jacksonville has you covered with everything you need to get on the water. So if you're ready for a great adventure, let Cycles of Jacksonville be your guide. Located off Atlantic Boulevard, or check out their website at cyclesofjacksonville.com.
Nobody but Nimnicht. Our family has purchased 6 vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. The #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville has lots of inventory to choose from with their best price guarantee. Who gives you top dollar for your trade? Nobody but Nimnicht. Save up to $10,000 off select new GMC Sierras or get rates as low as 1.9%. You know, I'm a truck guy. GMC Sierra, my trim level is an SLT. This one's an Elevation. Pretty good looking color as well. So here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, you have a lot to pick from. My father-in-law, he drives this, an Enclave, so I feel like that GMC in the family. 2025 is coming around the corner, which means it's almost time to close out those 2024s this summer. You can schedule a test drive at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. And while you're there, check your trade value and customize your payment options. Nimnicht is there for you, even on Sundays. So, who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? The answer's simple. Nobody but Nimnicht. Your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC. We are professional grade.
Welcome back into a Sunday post-game edition of Club 904. Appreciate the 800 of you hanging out with us live. That includes over 120 of you on YouTube, who I know are mostly just here for the schedule scoops. Again, in case you missed it, the Jaguars will not play against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football, I am told. And so that leaves 4 possible windows in that wild card weekend. The full schedule will be released at halftime of the Sunday Night Football game, which currently 7 seconds to go in Pittsburgh with the Steelers down a touchdown, 3rd and goal for Aaron Rodgers and friends. And they cannot convert, but now we have a flag. So good. Hopefully now we won't have the announcement during this program, although I kind of was hoping for it. So we'll see how timing goes. While we wait for that, let's hear from more of your Jacksonville Jaguars inside a victorious locker room following their AFC South clinching win over the Tennessee Titans. Let's hear first from Foye Oluokun. Appreciate you guys rolling with the punches on the technical difficulties on this one. Foye Oluokun, Jaguars inside linebacker, on a variety of different topics regarding this 41-7 win.
I'm not trying to take no foot off the pedal though. I think that's when you time to take that deep breath in. Like, we still got work to be done. I think you work all this time and you understand how good the team is. Like, you can't let that go to waste. Like, you had 18 weeks. You're trying to make it the longest possible with this group of guys and stuff. So, we won a little championship and stuff, but we still got work to be done to really make this what we could make it this year.
Is that the mentality? This is great, but there's still work to do?
That's what I feel for real. It's the most wins I had in a year. So, it's the best team I've been on. Why would I let that go to waste? You got to keep going. Keep pouring in that preparation process to understand how to come into these wins and stuff. But you got all this talent in the room, every playing like this, take advantage of it. Because, getting to the playoffs is very hard. You finally in this thing, let's make it count.
Does it still just feel it was like 1-0 when you come in to celebrate this division crown, perhaps compared to 22? Was it so much just like it's 1-0? We just won another game.
A little bit. I'm really in the moment. Obviously, we won. And now I'm back in here like we got another game next week. I don't know who we play, but I know we got work to be done. I think that's kind of the mindset we're going to have eventually when we get back to that practice week. We did well this year, and we want to keep it going. Obviously, you make it this far, you get bounced, you're going to be sad. So why not just keep on putting the work to keep getting wins and stuff, So that's where my mind's at.
Do you watch the afternoon games at all to see how the season works out?
No. All that cares about the Jazz, man. Jazz versus Jazz. Jazz picking up Jags. You keep taking care of Jags, you're going to like what you see at the end of the year. So I really don't know who we play. I'll watch the film on them when they tell me. I'm ready for that, though.
Felt like after that opening drive, you guys kind of settled in. Was there anything they did maybe you didn't expect on that first drive, and then adjustments?
I think we got them to a third and long eventually, and then a little communication, and they got the first down on that drive. That'll hurt us a little bit. So stay on our communication and stuff. And it was really what we were doing on that drive. They ran a zone, read, sift, play to score. We know how to execute that. So really get back to executing our own calls and playing the way we're supposed to play. And we did that better with better communication. We started getting off the field.
You've been very open about how in years past, perhaps, you were expected to be the eraser. You were the one telling guys where to line up. To see a young player like Antonio now in a role where he's telling guys, hey, make sure you move here pre-snap. What does that mean to you?
That's good. And it's still communication across the board. Like, now he gets to communicate to me, like, what to expect. And I get to communicate to him and alert the clock. Like, even on his pick, it was perfect communication. He was in the right spot. Quarterback didn't see him because he's in the right spot, but we already knew kind of the play that was going to come. Jumped it, scored. It's so good and relieving to be able to talk football across the board with everybody. So it's good. I like it.
How crazy was it in here for the celebration?
It was good, but I think we still know that there's more work to be done. I think everybody's definitely happy to come out on top, get this little hat and shirt, but we still got more work to be done. It was fun, though, having everybody happy.
Is it true that there was a Gatorade bath or water or something like that?
It must have been. I stand out here. I don't touch that water, man. Yeah, it was water up in there. It was cold, though, too, so I watched them all splash and stuff. It's good, though.
Thank you. Yes, as Dell noted, which, by the way, good evening, champs. Thanks for hanging out with us, Dell, and the 800 plus of you that are still with us live on Club 904, post-game edition, week 18. College basketball analyst here on Club 904, Foye Oluwakin, future NBA GM. And again, Brent and I talked about it. I didn't want to spoil what Foye was going to say, but that was my biggest takeaway from this game on the defensive side of the ball. To see these young players who perhaps in one way or another, there was a question of, can they handle that much on their plate? There was a question of, well, Foye has to tell Devin Lloyd where to line up. He has to tell Antonio Johnson where to line up because there's blown coverages here, there, and everywhere. And to see not only not having those missed assignments from those young players, but now those young players are the ones who are stepping up to the plate and saying, hey, make sure, Foye, you're over here. That, to me, is invaluable, and it says all you need to know about Liam Cohen and the operation they're building here in Jacksonville. We've only got about 8 minutes left, and I want you guys to hear from Parker Washington as well as LaQuint Allen. I know LaQuint's very quick, but Parker, he's a little long-winded because we have to talk about the golf celebration, not just about his touchdown and the great day that he had. Here is the Jaguars' third-year wide receiver. Then we'll hear from LaQuint Allen, last dance, all of that, plus maybe a schedule reveal scoop here. Here is Parker Washington.
Here, last two seasons obviously didn't go according to plan. I'm sure you heard a lot about 22, though, what it means to play in the postseason. Now you get your first taste of it. Emotions for you when the final horn sounds.
It's surreal. It's a big moment, you know. For me, it's just been a process, been a journey, and it's been cool to see this team come together and thrive in adversity, big time game moments. It's just been cool to see us attack it and approach it. So we're excited, and I love big games, so I'm ready to see what it's like in the playoffs.
I said to Foye, it still feels very 1-0. Next game, we got another game. Like it feels like that in this locker room. You guys did take a second to celebrate, right?
Yeah, no. We were waiting on Liam to run in here and do his thing. That was exciting. They got the water and stuff going. It was so cool, but definitely the work starts now. That's what it's all about. So it's time to go 1-0 again. Make the corrections and let's get to it.
Opening drive obviously didn't go according to plan. Was it just a matter of stuff they were presenting, the physicality, and at that point in time, do you just say, you know what, flush it onto the next drive?
You know, you know, we always go out there in the first drive thinking we're about to just go down there and just go score and put points up. But, you know, I mean, that's what makes this offense and this team special. It didn't go as planned, but we found a way to come back and not go away from each other, but grow together like we've been talking about since day one. And it's been so cool. So it's been special to just see how, like I said, answer to that adversity. And shoot, now we almost forgot how that first drive. So it's been cool.
Walk us through your touchdown.
That's the play. I didn't even know. Like I thought. I know it's a chance I could score on it, but it's like if I was thinking how I was gonna score today, that wasn't the play. So we got the exact look that we were looking for. You know, they went like a shell look. So Trevor gave me a little signal to kind of change my route a little bit. Threw a perfect pass, made the catch, and then we hit a little golf celly to go with it.
Yeah, how long you been workshopping that celly?
It was the swing was terrible today. You know, I was trying to figure out where the
flag was.
I was trying to figure out where the fairway was. So once I figured it out, I rushed my swing. So it's all good. But
It looked like you were hitting an 8-iron. Yeah, or like a wedge or something.
a wedge. So it's like, no, it wasn't a good driver swing if that's what it was. So I'm gonna let's go with what's hitting the wedge.
A wedge, hitting a wedge, In the second half for you guys, I mean, what's the conversation on the sideline when you're up that big in a game like that?
Just finish, you know, stay focused, stay locked in. That's what it's all about. And I feel like this team stays focused. We don't get caught in the distractions, and we're trying to keep it that way and keep it rolling, have some fun.
Chop Wood, Carry Water, available on Spotify. Joshua Medcalf is the author of that wonderful book that Parker Washington read about 3 years ago prior to being drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and which has now become a rallying cry, not just for the Penn State product, but for the Jaguars as a whole. One more interview to get to, but before we do, yes, if you are one of the nearly 900 of you listening live, it is official. The Jaguars will face the Buffalo Bills at 1 p.m. Sunday at Everbank Stadium on CBS. If you want a detailed breakdown, predictions from Brent and I, that was our expectation, was that it would be that 1 p.m. game. Interesting, because, I mean, I expected CBS to want Josh Allen, and the 1 p.m. window is kind of their bread and butter. And so with that being the only CBS game on the docket, it will be Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, and Tracy Wolfson, to my knowledge. Let's hear from LaQuint Allen, the werewolf. You know him. You love him. Stick around until the end because, he got some fighting words, but not fighting. He's not worried about Jeffrey Simmons because Jeffrey Simmons is about to be in Cabo somewhere, and LaQuint Allen's got a playoff game.
It's amazing.
Player in this locker room. So for you, emotions getting to wear one of those in your first season in the NFL.
It means a lot, just to be able to, look back into training camp, just look at all the days that we've been grinding, blood, sweat, and tears to be able to be, accomplished today what we wanted to. And we're not done yet. The job's not done, and I can't wait for next week.
I know the mentality for you guys was that despite the fact that obviously they're out of playoff contention,
for sure,
there was no question they were going to come in here, try to be physical with you guys. Describe those first few drives on offense.
We just had to keep our calm and just be us, at the end of the day, and attack them no matter what, if they was in the playoffs or not. Just always play, Jags football, and that's what we came out here and did today, and we had to keep our cool.
This is a rivalry. How soon did you know about the Jaguars-Titans rivalry?
Oh, I knew before we played them. Before my first time playing, and I already knew what type of game it was going to be. And I expected that, and it was that type of game the first game. So this game, we had to keep our cool and still be the Jags at the end of the day and attack them for sure.
What does it say about this offensive line that a lot of those guys were battling injuries and they just kept going? They're
tough. They're tough and they're amazing. They care about their teammates. And they're going to do everything in their power to help us win, for sure, and that's what they did today.
There were a couple of plays early on in those first few drives where you were kind of lined off center almost as a receiver, but then we were helping in pass pro. Can you just walk us through kind of the thought process for that?
Yeah, just, just to play, I got to chip and things like that and protection and get out. And, some of them I think I missed because just technique error on me. And, the width that they were, I just got to be better on that. But, I'm going to clean that up next week for sure.
Trying to chip the edge, trying to chip more in the A or the B gap? Or?
Yeah, and chip all over. All over, for sure. Whatever coach want me to do, that's what I'm going to do.
Whoever comes your way was the assignment.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Whichever person comes there, you chip them.
You've been a sacrificial guy all season long, and of course, Jeffrey Simmons back on that field again today. You said he doesn't want that smoke.
Yeah. I feel as though, between lines, he ain't want that smoke, but, I ain't going, he going on a trip right now. We still working, so I ain't worried about him.
He's in Cabo somewhere. The Jaguars are playing the Bills at 1 o'clock next Sunday. I had the notebook ready. We were going to empty that. We'll do that on an episode later this week. We're back to our normal Tuesday, Thursday, 1 p.m. time slot coming at you live on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Jordan Rodrigue of the Athletic NFL Network scheduled to join us at some point this week. Very exciting. And we also will be tapping into our friends up in Buffalo. Rest assured. Until Tuesday at 1 p.m., folks, thanks for hanging out with us. Be sure to like and subscribe to Action Sports Jacks at Mia O'Brien TV on X. And of course, free 7-day trials of the Mo Bryan NFL Notebook, where all my scoops, videos, notebooks, everything prior to popping out on this podcast. Don't forget that Discord channel. It's all there. Memberships start at just $5 per month. Until Tuesday, we will catch you guys later.